Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. An accord with the Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union has become a tailwind of growth for South African gold junior Vantage Goldfields, situated in Barberton in Mpumalanga. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer tells us more. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
Now, Vantage Goldfields has already spent 710 million rand in the Barberton area with plans to spend more. Can you tell us about their investment plans?
Yeah, they're listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, and what impressed me is the way these small companies, juniors, are able to raise big funds. I think they're big funds, when you're talking about millions of dollars, and it's an eye-opener because, we see them as small, but they're employing 800 people, 850 people. If there could be more of those sort of activities, you'd soak up a lot of the unemployment, and there's a lot of opportunity there in the Barberton area. And what they're looking at now is focusing on Barbrook. Now, Barbrook has got an incredible history because that was a mine set up by a major company, Rand Mines.
Mm-hmm.
And, when those companies used to set something up, they made things to last. So because of earlier labour strife, Caledonia, which is also a listed company, they had labour conflict there, and it wasn't the union, but it was the contracted workers through a broker that burnt a lot of the place down. So Caledonia moved out, and they did not want to return after having an experience like that. So they actually sold Barbrook to Vantage for 10 million rand, which I thought was really a giveaway because, the expanse of concession is huge, but the actual plant that they've got is really strongly built. It's robust, and they're already taking their Lily mine production through there. But the big thing now is to turn Barbrook to account. So they're talking small numbers at this point. They're talking about going to 45,000 ounces of gold. But I think they're talking in those terms simply to understate what is possible, because through the strike that they had with AMCU, they got set back quite severely. And it's amazing how well they've done in restoring that relationship. And, going underground in that Lily mine, I was introduced to the AMCU leadership, and I must say they were very impressive. And you sort of said to them, are you still demanding 12,500? And they said, no, that's the people of the Platinum Belt. That's not us. We've got a different attitude here. We don't want to be put in the same or tarred with the same brush as the AMCU out on the in the Platinum Belt, because we need jobs here, and we're working well. We are watching the company. We watch it, but we realise that it's also a tough business.
The company is dependent on the gold price, government policy and power supply from Eskom to move forward. Can you elaborate on that?
These juniors, they feel they're at the mercy of everybody, and they borrow funds on an exchange which suddenly no longer loves them, and they're caught in between. And if the legislative framework is bad, if there's a lot of publicity around the regulatory framework, it's even worse for them when they go out the country, because people don't even want to talk to you. So they're also very much at the mercy of the gold price. And the gold price has not responded as people thought it would in a world which has got a lot of turmoil. So they're saying, if the planets align, we can move, and if we've got energy for our plant, we can move. But they're dependent on external factors a lot. But it's amazing how they overcome their problems. They've had huge problems out there. They had a collapse of a pillar, and they sorted that out. They had a 7-week strike. They have really turned that around from what I can see. The way people were relating to each other, it was really in a sincere, friendly manner. And the one fella walked through the plant, and one of the workers sort of said to him, you're not looking strong today. When he got back, he had an energy sash so that he could have an energy drink. The workers had put there for him. I'm astounded at the relationship. It's really good. And it might have just been because we were there, but it didn't look like it. It looked like it was a good, strong relationship, that people realized that to grow here, and to use foreign funds effectively. We've got to work together, and that's what they seem to be doing.
Now, on that note, most of the workers working at Vantage are from the local community. How does that benefit the company?
They have tried to push the local community input there to, well, it's gone beyond the 90%. It was much lower than that before. I think it was in the 70s. But after the strike, they felt, we must recruit people that are not subject to migrant labor. They want their workers to go home to their wives and their children at night, because it creates a huge stability for them. Because the wives are sort of demanding food, and they're demanding proper living conditions, and therefore you just keep your job, get a good wage, but make sure you keep your job. The kids are needing school fees and books, and so they're under that pressure all the time. Whereas if you're a migrant labourer, you're sort of away from all that. They like the idea that people go home to their families,
the community.
To the community. So to draw from the community, you're able to ensure that you don't have to build hostels, or you don't have to build special housing, because the people are housed. They come to work in a way that most suburban people come to work. They've got their own homes, they make their own arrangements, and they're also close to their families. So that is a factor that's on the lips of many people that I go to now. The word migrant has become something that they fear now, because they realize that strikes can emanate from men living in hostels together, and people that are not living with their families. And the other M word that they're all embracing, the one they want to reject, the other one they want to embrace, and the second M word is mechanization. They all want mechanization. And what I saw there, the grade of gold where they are mining at the moment at Lily is not high. But because they're able to mechanize and do things in such volume, they're able to create a viable, sustainable situation of gold mining there. And they're using the Australian approach. But I noticed that the AMCU workers were pretty adept at using these big drilling machines, big jumbo drills, which is quite a skill. So I think that's going to stand the whole area in good stead, because in the past they've tended to mine in a micro fashion, but these people have adopted the Australian way of a macro, big machines, big drilling machines, load haul dumpers, and it's really starting to work for them. And I think they're just breaking into what will be much bigger, because if they can actually turn Barbrook to positive account, and they're saying it's no longer a dog. Everybody who's tried it has had trouble. That could be a company maker for them. In the meantime, it's interesting to see how they can raise these funds, when they go out into the big world. Often, these people with, individuals who have a lot of money, they're either ex-South Africans, or they've got some South African link, or they understand South Africa very well, and they're prepared to risk their funds in there, which I think is fantastic for the country. If we can have this diaspora of South African linked people out there, we can get those necessary foreign investments, because without them there's just very little hope. We can see that our own financial institutions, which normally take people's provident fund money and their pension money, they find this too risky. They're not going to go and risk people's pensions money in a venture like this. Whereas these high net worth individuals outside the country, who understand the mining industry and know the people involved, they're prepared to put big bucks behind these juniors. And if you get a lot of them doing it, I think it could be advantageous for the country from all respects, because they operate very efficiently. They get close to their labour, so there's less chance of strikes, and they employ a lot of people. We think, oh, this is a little junior, but it's 850 people. That's it's important. Okay, so we know that in the Platinum Belt, those big majors having to deal with 80,000 people. That's a different story. And when they're all getting hostile, it's not easy to control them. But it seems that in these smaller pockets, there can be a good relationship exercise that actually is sustaining. And I think that's what I witnessed out there. I'm sure if I go out in a few months, I'll find it's similar, that they haven't really lost that good relationship with each other, which was very good for business.
That's very good news. Thank you very much, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Shannon.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.